Today we will cover back-channeling, which I abbreviate as BC. Back-channeling is a part of all communication and can be divided into three types based on three different language modalities: auditory, visual, and tactile. People who are hearing and sighted may exhibit auditory and visual back-channeling cues. These cues allow smooth, two-way communication to take place, each person providing feedback to the other about how communication is being received. Facial expressions, body language, and verbal responses such as, oh, I see, yep, uh-huh, support communication as it unfolds. Through this constant stream of two-way communication, hearing-sighted people are able to mutually connect. Deaf people don't make use of auditory back-channeling cues. Instead, they use visual cues such as eye gaze, facial expressions, head nodding, body language, physical postures, and signed responses. This allows conversation partners to gauge whether they are being understood and to manage turn-taking. Here again, back-channeling happens naturally and instantaneously between conversation partners. Hearing people make use of both auditory and visual back-channel cues, while deaf people make use of visual ones. Back-channeling is second nature as two people enter into lively back-and-forth conversations, converging on meaning and establishing joint attention. As deaf-blind people grow up, however, we are excluded from entering into these types of rapidly unfolding back-and-forth conversations simply due to language barriers. When using written English to communicate, all conversations are strictly consecutive. Back-channeling is often entirely absent, resulting in stilted and disjointed connections. When we attempt to join deaf people in their visual realm, we miss their visual back-channeling cues and we're left guessing. Did the other person understand us? Is it even our turn? Are they following our back-channeling cues? This too results in disconnection. We're working so hard to visually key into the pieces of information they are simultaneously communicating with both their faces and hands. The thrust of the communication is lost, leaving us relegated to the social periphery. Back-channeling is a vital component of all communication. Everyone needs to know how they are being received, and deaf-blind people are no exception. So, of course, as you may have guessed, protactile language has a means of back-channeling through touch. When sighted, hearing, and deaf people communicate with us, they provide their back-channeling cues through touch. They join us in the tactile realm. Through reciprocal tactile feedback, we mutually feel how we are being received by one another through the back-and-forth flow of communication. When we are all in touch together, we can all similarly feel the energy of a response like this one, as it flows down through the arm and hand directly to my leg, reverberating through my nerve receptors and up to my brain. I receive direct tactile sensory input, communicating your feedback clearly to me. There is no ambiguity here. Visual back-channel cues communicated only on the face would require me to touch your face all the time to get your feedback. Auditory back-channeling cues would require that I touch your throat to try to decipher your feedback. Neither of these are effective. When you and I always stay in contact with one another, reciprocally providing tactile feedback, the information we convey through touch equals any feedback given auditorily or visually. Eye contact unites deaf people in their dance of communication, right? The sound of one another's voice unites hearing people in their dance of communication, whether they are near or far. Touch unites deafblind people in their dance of tactile communication. All three avenues of back-channeling function to provide information to people during communication. This allows us to get a sense of how we are understood or how our message was received. Are you upset? Demanding explanation? Inviting elaboration? Brushing me off? Feeling put off? There are endless nuanced responses that can be communicated through all three avenues of back-channeling. With that understanding, let's explore tactile feedback in action. We will all practice protactile back-channeling together. Let's begin with a demonstration. I'll initiate the conversation, and we will get your hand into back channeling position, as I might do with a child. Notice how I slowly move the child's hand to my leg. This is their back channeling hand. Now you try with my hand as the child's hand. You're slowly moving my hand to your leg. Now remember, in the last lesson we covered the dominant and listening hand positions. The hand that is not listening is the one providing back channeling. The back channeling hand is in that green circle. This is the way we always configure our hands. Your back channeling hand is never resting on your own leg, like in this red circle, and our legs are never separated from one another. When we are engaged in conversation, we are always connected with one another in this configuration. I'll demonstrate that again. Now, you try. Yes, that's the way. All right. Let's do that one more time. And let's go slowly, okay? First, I will move to get us seated correctly to where our legs are touching. And then you know to move your back channeling hand to my leg. Now it's your turn to try. You signal to me that you want to have a conversation, and we get seated in the correct position where our legs are touching, and my hand goes to your leg. Now that hand is available for back channeling. Notice that we are taking turns demonstrating initiating a conversation. This underscores an important principle in language called reciprocity. Language goes in both directions, and it is no different when it comes to protactile language. This hand tapping you are doing indicates that you understand what I'm saying. It may appear to indicate a sense of urgency, but it doesn't. It simply communicates that you are understanding. Affirmative back channeling looks like this. Through your back channeling, I can feel you are listening. It tells me whether or not you're paying attention, and gives me the sense that you're involved with me in the present moment as it unfolds. If you were to keep your hand on your own leg, I would have no idea about how you were feeling as you received my message. I would have no idea whether or not I was being understood. There would be a disconnect. Now, if you slide your hand back and forth across my leg like this, you would be telling me, hey, no way, I have no idea what you're talking about. This would convey that you were puzzled or disagreed with something that I said. Let's see that one more time. All of your feedback is given through this hand here on my leg. A hearing or deaf-sighted person might convey the same information in a different way. For example, a hearing person might say, no way, nope, or scoff. And a deaf-sighted person might convey this information through head shaking, furrowed brows, visual gestures, or a grimace. Since I don't have access to the visual information conveyed on the face, we communicate it tactily through this hand here. All that is expressed by a nodding or shaking head can be expressed here through your hand on my leg. Tactile back channeling gives me the emotional pulse of our conversation.